Uncut Gems got snubbed. Sorry. I'm here in China and we're having a bit of a problem. I'm sure you guys have all seen on the news. But I've been locked in my house for the last 3 days because of a certain virus that's going around. And luckily, thanks to Korean Netflix, we had Uncut Gems on Netflix, so I was able to check it out. Let's talk about that. So let me explain a little bit. In China here, the internet's a bit problematic, to say the least. And so what I use is a thing called a VPN, which is a little bit of software that enables you to surf the internet from different countries. Now, one of the great things about the VPN, apart from getting around Chinese censorship, is that you can actually surf Netflix from other countries. And let me give you a pro tip. One of the best countries is Korea because they release US movies super early. Anyways, this week they released Uncut Gems and I had a chance to check it out and it was amazing. I can't believe this thing didn't get a single Oscar nom. Not Best Actor, not Best Director, not Best Film, and more importantly, not Best Score. This had a beautiful score by Daniel Lopatin. The synth voices were amazing, the patches were so deep and rich, and I just can't believe it didn't get any type of nomination. I really thought it was a new take on a great new feel for this film. So anyways, since I've just been sitting around and most things are kind of on lockdown here in China at the moment, I thought I'd take some time and head off to the studio and see if I can get into the keyboards and see if I can kind of emulate and try to figure out how he got those really iconic and amazing sounds that he got for Uncut Gems. So let's go check it out. So yeah, I had a chance to check out that film and boy was it amazing. I'm really excited to get into the studio and dig into the pads and the lush, beautiful pads that Daniel Lopatin was able to get from that thing. So I really want to see what kind of waveforms he was using, what kind of layering he was doing, and what kind of LFOs, what he was doing with the LFOs. It sounded like he was doing a lot of pitch modulation with the LFO and also some pan modulation with the LFO, so I'm going to try to do that. Now he used the Moog 1 for most of that, and there's a great video on Moog's channel about the behind the scenes for the music. But I'm going to try to use my JDXA because I think I can get similar analog tones and similar layering with that synth. So I'm excited to get into it, try it out. Next thing I'd like to talk about is the way that he uses choral elements like chorus and human elements in his score that really give it this grounding and cool choral sound. I'm not sure if he used a real chorus or not. It sounds a little bit like it might be a library instrument. Either way, I don't have access to live singers, so I'll be using the East West Library to try to see if I can get some of this feel myself. Yeah, I'm really not sure what's going on there. I guess it has something to do with this virus stuff. But that's interesting. Never a dull moment here in China. The last thing I'd like to talk about is the way he uses those saxophone sounds. I mean, it's really unique to me. So he's got these lush synth pads. He's got this really interesting choral elements that he's mixing in, and now he's bringing in this jazzy saxophone elements. Last time I heard something like this, I think it was with Vangelis' Blade Runner, which was like a neo-noir. This obviously isn't a neo-noir, but it really has that unique sound. So I'd like to bring out the saxophone and see if I can bring in some of these kind of elements in my track. See if I can incorporate them and get a little bit of that feel. Really cool stuff. Let me get my mask back on. Okay. So I just realized that I never actually shot a outro or a segue into the next segment of the video. In this next segment, I'm actually going to break down the synth that I used to create the background music that you've been listening to so far in the video. I made this music in the style of Daniel Lopatin's Uncut Gems score. I really think that you guys should take time and check out that score. It deserves a lot more credit than it's getting. And I really think it's a great piece of work. Please stick around and watch the tutorial, and if you like what you've seen, give me a thumbs up and leave a comment below, let me know what you think, and remember to subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Thanks. So let me try to explain a little bit about what I did with the JDXA patch here to get the sound we're looking for. You can see in Nuendo here, I used all I have 8, the JDXA actually has 8 MIDI inputs. So the first one I had polyphonic, so that takes up these 4, and then I use these other digital inputs. And I just input the MIDI data here, and then this goes over to my JDXA, and then that tells each channel what to play. So let's go over and look at the JDXA, and I'll show you each channel. So the first channel is here. See, these 4 are the digital or the analog channels, and these second group of 4 are the digital channels. Now I have this on polyphonic mode, so it just uses one channel from the MIDI, but plays polyphonic. This was going from pulse width to the 2 oscillators are going through a pulse width wave. You can see where the pulse width was, and then actually. This isn't representing exactly what the ADSR was, but I had a pretty slow attack. And you can kind of hear that just coming in. And I actually had the cutoff is following the cutoff filter, but I actually manipulated this and recorded some of that cutoff data into the MIDI session. Now that's the analog lead patch. And then the next was I used 6 and 7 together. These are digital inputs. And I had them, one with a sawtooth and the other one was a pulse width. And also one was a variation. So this one actually had 2 voices. One in variation and one as a sawtooth, and then this one was just the pulse width, and you can hear a little bit of what this sounded like. And you can hear I had the LFO was modulating the filter depth and also the pitch width to give it that vibrato sounding. And I had this mostly in the low register. The last channel I used for our arpeggiated pattern, and I just had a short square. It's just a square wave, you can see. If it pulls focus on it. Anyways, it's a square wave. And you just hear it. And I just turned on the arpeggiator and played that in. And I'll hit the hold button here for a second. And then you can hear while it's holding, you can kind of manipulate the release on the ADSR. Which I kind of recorded some of this data in. And also on the filter. And that's about it. And then I just hit, after I record all that in using the MIDI and record in whatever modulation data I want, then I just hit record and it writes it down to, you can see where it writes it down here. It records it all down. I used a couple of the effects channels as well. I believe that was the tremolo and chorus effect. So a couple effects that were built in, but most of that came, I didn't do much processing afterwards. All of that was down to a stereo channel just from all of the one patch. So that's just one patch on the JDXA for all of the synth stuff. All right, thanks a lot.